Welcome to the Insta Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast where our special guests never show up. Or they show up and then they have to leave and they never come back. But hopefully one of them's coming back. We might get some random people coming in during the video. I don't know. You never know. We just blame it on Justin. That seems to be a theme of the Insta Classic Wrestling Podcast. It's always Justin's fault, somehow. Anyway, we got another special video. Nope, we're not talking about Impact for next week yet because both of us have not finished watching it. Let's be honest, both of us have not finished watching it. I'm going to be honest with that one. So we'll have that hopefully tomorrow for you, and then we'll have NXT also because I leave on Saturday. But anyway, we are talking about we're not talking about Velvet Sky. We're talking about the importance of women's wrestling. And Velvet Sky happens to be a women in wrestling. A woman, not women, whatever. So,
So Velvet Sky is the entire women's division
yes,
in wrestling.
that is
Okay.
that is pretty much what we're going for. Is that Velvet Sky is the be-all, end-all of women's professional wrestling. And if that were the case, I would have given up on it a long time ago. But yeah, we want to talk about kind of the importance of women's wrestling because, for a while it was just a little, sort of a peep show. You would see these girls come out and you'd have bra and panties matches, or you'd have a pillow fight or something stupid, not really showing off what women can do. Luckily, it is changing with, companies, even WWE with NXT is kind of changing the light on women's wrestling. It's been going on in the indies too, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't, there's fans that are, watch the indies, and then there's the loyal WWE Universe fans who just watch WWE and don't really know that there's other wrestling out there. Did you have any kind of specific points you wanted to talk about having to do with, the importance of what you think about?
Yeah. I think really you can kind of see how women's wrestling has changed. I don't really know where it started. I guess you could say it started with TNA's Knockouts division because it took away those kind of gimmicky female kind of degrading matches. They kind of gave them a chance to kind of have a spotlight. And I think to a certain degree, I think a lot of people felt like it was taken too far at times because I know there was some blood and I think it was like one match. There was blood by a woman in like one match, and at times I feel like people think that that's taking it too far, just because it's not what you're used to seeing, and you always try to resist change a little bit. I feel like as far as women's wrestling, I guess, is concerned, the main consensus is that it's the bathroom break of the show, especially for a pay per view, I guess, just because there's no commercials to go to the bathroom on. So, gotta go to the bathroom eventually, right? Unless you got your little bucket on the side, but, that's tough. That's unsanitary, and that's hard to keep up with. So, it's understandable. But I feel like, especially now, especially with NXT, it seems like, and I feel like the knockouts too, um, and just other promotions that you can watch women's wrestling with. You have the all women's wrestling promotions too. I feel like it's kind of it's changed a little bit. It's not necessarily the bathroom break anymore because even the main roster stuff for WWE isn't horrible. I feel like as much as people try to fight it, pre Nikki Bella, wasn't the greatest thing. But I didn't feel like Nikki Bella was the worst thing ever. Like, she did put on some entertaining matches. She does have some fluidity, and I've said this before in videos. She does have some fluidity from move to move, I feel like. personally. That's my personal opinion because this is an opinionated video. um, but yeah, I just feel like um, it's kind of changed. The whole the mantra that it was the bathroom break or it was just for them to kind of show off what they got, not in necessarily the way that it is now. I feel like it's changed because obviously you still have the beauty aspect of the females that are in the ring, but it's the same thing with the men. They don't just most of the time they don't put out men who look like they lived in a box for 3 years. They bring the men who have worked out. They've worked on themselves. They're strong men. They're all kind of a similar mold. So I mean, I don't know. It's definitely changed. I feel like you can see that even with the whole Charlotte situation. We talked about this in a video before, where they didn't know what to do with Charlotte because she's not a knockout. I can't believe I just did that. She's not um you know and not by knockout a TNA diva. Like she's not like they're trying to say she's not like a model or something, and I think that kind of shows how it's changed though too, because WWE's still grasping on. So we got to have the model out there, strutting her stuff. We got to put Sable out there, but it's much different. I think even as a fan of wrestling in general, we want to see women. We want to see more importance on that, and I think with NXT we're really getting that because they're giving them Ironman matches and stipulation matches, and it's really cool to see. It's very different to see.
Yeah. A couple points that you brought up that I kind of want to touch on a little bit is
Nikki
I
Bella's the
remember.
best. I know. Nikki Bella is the great. Okay, that was a little much. That was a little much. Casey doesn't
Anyway,
like Nikki Bella.
I don't like Nikki Bella.
Eva
Anyway,
Marie. Oh, sorry.
sorry, had a little
Dana
something.
Brooke. Oh, no.
Moving on. Moving on. Um, I remember what you were talking about when you said there was a couple matches where there was blood, and women bleed too. If a woman cuts her finger, she's gonna bleed. It's what happens. And yes, it happened to be in a match, and they happen to people aren't comfortable with that with women. But these are the same type of people, and I'm not stereotyping anybody, but these are the same type of people that will go onto YouTube and watch, viral videos of teenage girls fighting in, front yards. But that's okay. But as soon as, Trish Stratus or, AJ Lee or whoever gets a cut on her forehead in a physical match, that's too far. It's idiotic, the way people think. And then, I feel like it's changed a lot, just with now we're getting this day and age, we're getting, women's wrestlers who have worked up, you know, all of the, except for Dana Brooke, all of the NXT and Eva Marie, all of the NXT divas have worked up. They've all, gone through the indies. They've all trained. They've all done all this. Back in kind
If
of,
they haven't, and if they haven't, they are training now.
yeah, yeah. What I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, um, was back even like the late '90s, early 2000s, there was divas like Stacy Keibler, Tori Wilson, who weren't necessarily didn't come up in the business. They kind of started off as either Nitro girls dancing, or the kind of escort or whatever. and then were kind of thrown into the ring and kind of trained. So they weren't, we're getting, like I said, divas or women that are actually, this was their dream their whole life. This is what they kind of, built their whole life for. Even, going to AJ Lee, she's not in WWE anymore, issues there, whatever. It was her dream growing up as a little girl. It was, Bayley's dream growing up as a little girl. Charlotte, she grew up with it. I mean, her dad's Ric Flair, so obviously, it's in her blood. These aren't just models, Dana Brooke, that decided that they wanted to, do something different and be a wrestler. These are, women that have, this is what they've wanted to do their whole life. And we're getting, but,
when mentioning Dana Brooke, now she has that drive and desire to be a wrestler. So I think it's completely fine. Cause I mean, if it's a certain male, you wouldn't get upset about it. A certain male that makes that transition, Baron Corbin, who you says has an it factor. I'm just saying.
I mean, he has an it factor, but the man can't fall out the ring. I mean, he had the it factor until he couldn't fall out the ring, and then it goes out the window. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
But I mean, I'll give him credit. He at least he was an athlete. He wasn't just, a bodybuilder who couldn't be a bodybuilder because he wasn't good enough to be a bodybuilder and likes to wear colored shirts and,
we already talked about him.
I know. That's why I'm not talking about him. I'm just mentioning, similar things.
And it wasn't that he wasn't good enough to be a bodybuilder, but that's just another. That's for another time. That's for another time. Part 2, maybe.
There's gonna be like a part 17. But yeah, and we've talked about other points with why women's wrestling is important. Just matches in general, just the way they put on matches. We've talked about it with submissions. How women are naturally more limber, and they can make moves look that much more devastating, which makes it more entertaining. Um, but hey, we have our guest back. Yay!
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
For the viewers and listeners, T-Sean the One from Good Nation Entertainment, Russell Talk Media. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. How's it going with you?
And y'all gotta excuse me. I think it's my black side. I was a little late. Had some things to tend to, but I'll fall back.
Yeah, like the video said. I guess since you're just joining us, we're talking about just women's wrestling. We didn't really like go by any format. We just started talking about it. So anything you want to input into it?
The overall state of women's wrestling.
Yeah, I mean you can go for the state, how it's changed, whatever.
We're talking about the importance of because it is important and people don't realize that.
So yeah, we're talking about the importance and how like why it shouldn't be the bathroom break of the night.
Women's wrestling. Why shouldn't be the bathroom? Like, ooh, damn. Um. Well, women's wrestling. It's sad we got to say how important it is, but well, of course, it's to inspire the younger women because they wanted to kind of draw in the women audience, and at the same time they hit a goal with kind of arousing the male audience with having beautiful figures do battle and so forth, and inspire younger women to look up to a possible strong woman, a strong female in some sorts. And as I think the purpose of it, the goal of it in the beginning was to also get your male audience entertained to see hot chicks versus hot chicks. But as they struck gold with the women and being inspired by these different records, a lot of young ladies step into the wrestling industry, and they're inspired by Fabulous Moolah, Medusa, hell, even Luna at times. So or China is a big influence for a lot of, especially a lot of women with bigger figures, such as you talk about Awesome Kong, you talk about the alpha female. A lot of them looked up to wrestlers such as China and so forth. And then the crossover, how they became, it's like with China. China's crossover to being more of a viable diva or sex symbol, because at first she was a little more bulky and manly like, but these agendas that it was set for women's wrestling to basically bring in or captivate on a whole nother audience and inspire another crowd, because of course the guys we were diehard wrestling fans, but it's kind of one thing to go to a wrestling match with your girl and she's into it, but she may see a bunch of bulky guys, but pretty much women that the majority of them, they're loyal to the man, but inspire her as well. Just inspire your little girl. Let her see a woman as a champion and coming out on top. So I guess that's the alleged storyline that was being portrayed, and as long as if it fulfilled that point, that is gold. That's the finish line of it. But to see now how does transition now, and is wrestling portraying that now as women, being able to be from the underdog and overcoming physical obstacles. TNA, of course, has done a good job at that. They did a beyond years outstanding job of showing their women, even whether they have 5 wrestlers on the damn roster, female knockout wrestlers on the roster, they still do a damn good job at showing and representing their women. I mean, you got to look at a lot of the first, and I'm not just singling out TNA, but I got to give them the props. They're the first, had the first Iron Man women's match, had the first ladder, had the first cage, had the first tables match. And these are not just, they weren't just the first. They were damn good. It wasn't just like a gimmicky one where it was just, all right, it's just gonna be, they're gonna tiptoe over these matches. But if you watch them, you're like, okay, ooh, they look like they can kill her. It was like, oh, this is pretty damn good. So today did a very good job. And then, okay, let's not even skip over tag team titles. And I know many will say, well, what about Shimmer? What about this show? What about those other wrestling shows? But these were all women wrestling shows, so of course they were going to favor in different areas and be able to exploit certain areas. But we're talking about a national product, a national company that's predominantly ruled by the male demographic. But then again, you talking about a company that had shown some type of way, some type of format to be able to display women's wrestling, and not just as a gimmicky kind of gimmick, because WCW they really failed at it. WB were successful at a point, to a standpoint, but then again they start losing their formula, because at one point they were on top with it, from having Ivory, Lita, Gail Kim, from bringing in Trish Stratus, to Tori Wilson. We can go. The list goes on. Stacy Keibler and so forth. They did a good job at bringing in these women and bringing in that inspiring figure, such as we talk about Lita. Lita is one of those wrestlers that really inspired a lot of young ladies. I didn't mention it in the beginning, but I was going through the historics. But Lita had showed a whole different side that the women that you really didn't see from the female audience. She was that edgy. She was that. She was your. I guess you could say your ally to your Hardy Boys, because women love the extremeness of the Hardy Boys. The dare taking risks, baby boy face guys doing all the crazy, edgy moves, punk rockish moves. But then again, just imagine her seeing herself being able to do that. And Lita, she embodied that, and she took on a whole new form that you hadn't really seen on a national level before. You hadn't seen a character like Lita's. It was like a comic book. It was like Laura Croft joining WWE at his finest time. So Lita was a great example of leading women. Then Trish Stratus came along. I guess we allude to Trish Stratus. She showed that free from being a sluttish figure to being the most noble and top dog woman. Because if you look at Trish Stratus come in, she was looked at as kind of like the manager, and if you look at her development, she developed from a manager to this behind and sleeping with the boss lady to, you know what, I'm gonna clean up my act and I'm gonna get my life there. These characters told a story to that you don't have to be one thing. And Trish Stratus's character showed that she became a true viable competitor. If you really break down her story, you say, okay, she came in the manager looking, she was doing the manager thing. Then she was looked at as like this girl sleeping around, sleeping her way to the top. So she dropped the whole gimmick and said, you know what, I'm gonna get my life together and I'm gonna be serious. Basically as a storyline, and be serious. So women that watched her and really liked her character, they're like, you know what, I ain't gotta be this way. I can actually change. So so you had. Go ahead.
I'm just curious with that change. Do you feel like, because I feel like today there's a lot of, I guess you could say, feminists where they're really, they lean towards females and like equality with all that. Do you feel like that's kind of a big thing in this change with women's wrestling where um, people are really leaning towards, well, men can face off against women even though you don't see it?
Oh
Do
no,
you
no,
think that's kind of
you see it. You're right. You can see it. It's highly clear that they're going for that. I guess what you're alluding to is the equality movement, and which is what people are sleeping on, which is a very serious topic because you need to. I think people need to tread lightly when they talk about the equality part. I don't think America's just really ready to really talk about that and just really go into that because they're picking on the topic. But if you really want to go there, there's a lot of things. If we're gonna talk about equality, you got to get into domestic situations and economic situations as far as child support. Shit, hell, why should just one guy? Why should the male predominantly always have to pay child support right off the bat? Because basically innately what's gonna end up happening is that, say for instance, the parents split up. Usually, 80% of the time, the woman's gonna get the child. All tops. No matter, say for instance, both parents are good parents, but they split up. Usually, it always, and both of them have jobs and they're doing well. Usually, right off the bat, the courts are gonna say, okay, the lady, she takes the child, and you'll get custody on this weekend and that weekend. So is that showing equality? No, it's not.
Well, I'm saying more so equality, not necessarily in like just life in general.
No, what I'm getting, I'm gonna clear it up real quick. What I'm getting towards is that the rest. Well, I guess what really WWE is doing, they're kind of doing. They're trying to cash in on them because TNA, they went a whole nother route. See, it's two different routes that these both companies took. With WWE, they're trying to challenge that. Hey, all women can do this. So embrace our women and our women power, girl power this, because they've been doing it for a long time. With that, periodically they'll do girl power this and this. Embrace our women. Our women is we're equal. We're just like guys. We can do what guys do. I get that, but then again, they're treading a fine line because if you're gonna go that route, you got to get deep. You have to go through. It's just a lot that you're gonna have to eat. If women really want to be allegedly equal, let's look at some things that men aren't equal on as well. So it's really not a fair shake for both sides. Everybody has their advantage, which has to be understood. Women got the advantage in certain situations. Men got the advantage in certain situations. You can talk about it in a job situation. A lot of guys don't get a fair shake at jobs. So I think that WWE went about it the wrong way. They were trying to rile up, get more of a. They were initially doing it to get a feminist background. They wanted to get, they got the males die hard, but they wanted to capitalize back on the women, get a larger women demographic and favor towards the women. So they're doing it for as a sponsorship, with their sponsorships, and it's more of a trying to capitalize on the women audience even more. We got them watching our guys, so let's get them to really invest more into our let's milk it for what it is. So they pretty much they do it on a marketing standpoint just to build them more with this. But TNA, when you watch their women's wrestling, how they've evolutionized the women's platform, is that when you think about TNA knockouts, it really doesn't look like a sideshow or just some kind of freak show no more. I mean, at first when they was doing it, when TNA presented the knockouts, it was a gimmicky. Look at that, little bimbos in the ring running around. It was took as a joke. But this division, the knockouts division, is so powerful and so epic that they even brought in tag team titles. Never before presented on the national level of especially with big companies such as WWE or TNA and WCW, have they presented legit tag team titles? If I'm wrong, somebody correct me, comment section below. But they never presented tag team titles and took them so serious because these, like Sharita and them, it was so many different tag teams. Awesome Kong and her partner Hamada, they defended these titles with honor. They went at it. The beautiful people, they love them titles. So the Knockouts titles were a great addition to TNA, and I thought it was going to be taken as a joke, but they took them titles very seriously. So they went ahead of the competition as far as on a women's level. They outdid any other company with the women's Knockouts division. But now we look at the demise of WWE's women's division, and you talk about what they say, the hashtag Give Divas a Chance, which is a walking contradiction in itself. A diva getting a chance? You don't. A diva, and as I alluded to in a private discussion with us previous before, a diva doesn't need a chance. A diva takes. It doesn't. It's like saying give this king a chance. You don't say give a king a chance, or like I was saying, let me give a god a chance. No, divas division that's top alpha female. So she don't need to give a chance. She takes, or it's already known that she is the one, or this division is that's it. So whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. And a lot of people and I'm gonna fall back for a second. A lot of people talk about NXT's, man. That's one of the main course meals when you talk about, oh man, did you see the NXT match with Bayley and Sasha Banks? That was epic, man. That's it. Okay, I'm like, well, that's good and all, but where are we going from there? That's on the NXT level, and let's not kid ourselves. WWE doesn't really treat NXT as though like it's the main big brand. Hell, everybody's their main goal is to get to Raw and WrestleMania. So you look at let's see these characters go up to the main roster, and let's see how they develop there. Let's see how the NXT women's title, because WWE, they have so many ways of shitting on their women's wrestling, because for one, like I said, they presented hashtag Give a Diva a Chance, which is belittling them already. Then you present them with Stephanie McMahon come out and demanding everybody comes to the ring, and she's pretty much punking out every woman in the ring. She punked out everybody in the ring.
Yeah, and the NXT, like from NXT to Raw, NXT to SmackDown, NXT to the main roster, it's completely different too. Like the way, like you're saying, the way they're treated.
Or presented.
Like you,
because
yeah,
when they presented the hashtag Give Divas a Chance situation, it was presented though. Like I said, with Stephanie McMahon coming out there, this is what it's gonna be. And usually when Vince McMahon would do that, because I think she was trying to channel her father's era with the Divas division. But when Vince McMahon do that, but you knew there was somebody that was gonna pose her. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. He had Undertaker. He has people that'll kick his ass. Okay, who's gonna kick Stephanie's ass? And when you talk about if WWE was watching and listening and anybody had any brains, you should have somebody oppose Stephanie and kick to Stephanie's ass right now. Because right now, that's if you really want to give the Divas that push right now that they should have been had, you have the biggest female villain on the roster get taken out. Not by Ronda Rousey. No, it shouldn't be Ronda Rousey capitalizing on that. That should be Sasha Banks. It should be Naomi. It should be Naomi, because Naomi really, I think she can live up to that hype because she's a damn good athlete. She's a damn good performer, and they need to push more different talent of the Divas, because some of them are just getting lost in the shuffle. So, such as
one thing about Naomi, she's worked hard too. We talked about this before you came in. How I don't know if it was her dream to be a wrestler, but we have seen her not only like improve, but like she wasn't really comfortable with the heel turn she had, but she's made it into her own. Casey, do you have anything to say? Because I know it's. You have anything?
There's a lot of I feel like issues just in general with the main Divas division on the main roster. I think one of the biggest issues, and even Divas have voiced this, one of the major ones being AJ Lee, fans have voiced this, just the fact that they're still being called Divas and the belt is still a big butterfly. How can you really take that seriously as a division? I don't want to see my women's champion with a big butterfly. Even women don't want to see that. I think they should just go back to the WWE women's division because that's gonna kind of be taken more seriously by fans and by you know I feel like WWE in general. Um, I mean, I know what they were trying to go with, with divas, the whole girl power thing, which to an extent works, but at the same time, this isn't the Spice Girls, where this isn't girl power, this isn't the 90s, this isn't pop music, whatever. We're trying to we're trying to re-legitimize women's wrestling, and that's
Well,
what it is. It's women's wrestling. It's not divas wrestling. It's women's wrestling.
well, I
Yeah.
have a different look on that one. I don't know if I disagree. I just have a different look on that one. I think they were gold with the title of divas, the belt situation, because a lot of women. I remember a couple of my girls were around me. They were like, "Hey, what's that? What is the belt that woman's wearing?" Like, because it was ugly. They were always talking about the women's championship was ugly. So them changing it and bedazzling it. It's to appeal towards the women. A lot of females I know liked it. They was like, "Ooh, it looks interesting. Oh, it's a butterfly." And women love butterflies like that. So it's more inspiring towards the large demographic of women. But now, as far as the guys, we shouldn't really, give two damn craps about it. I mean, like, well, okay, it's a diva's belt or a woman's belt. Cool, of course. Let's think about it. If a woman designed it, more likely she's gonna design it like that. She's gonna put all pink. She's gonna put this and put that. May not be bold and brave looking to us, but I guess to them, they want to look fly and they want to look flash. They want to look because think about it, when she takes a picture with the belt, she wants it to be sexy. So the belt is trying to take on a sexy, nice diva's role with it. So that's the belt in its own sensation. So of course to us, it's not gonna be appealing, but they were on goal with where they were going. It's just that what they've done with the Divas division is what has dropped the ball with it. Let's talk about AJ Lee. AJ Lee, you know, I understand they want to capitalize on pushing somebody, pushing a star, but the believability of AJ Lee just really degraded because a lot of decline in the Divas division really happened when AJ Lee was champion. It's no big secret. A lot of guys patch it up because they like her. Oh, she was cute. I love her. I like the little next door neighbor girl. But at the same time, honestly, a lot of females that I knew, or a lot of people really looked at it. It's like it's a joke. You had a 101-pound woman putting girls in submissions and Brock Lesnar and everybody. It was kind of like okay, But you look at wrestlers like such as Jazz. You go back and look at wrestlers like Jazz or Ivory, girls that look like they could actually hurt you or put you in a move and make it look believable. But AJ Lee was such a joke in so many ways, and I hate to question anybody's feelings towards AJ Lee, but she was god awful. She was terrible. The only problem with Naomi, real problem, and if I want nobody to get it wrong, I'm not saying that Naomi had to pick up her skill level. Naomi actually had to dumb down her skills because that was Naomi's biggest problem. When you watch her past matches, she was always on point, athletic, and on some innovative move type shit. But with the roster and the way the roster is wrestling, she was outclassing, but at the same time she was making them look stupid, and in the process making her not looking good. Because if she's doing all types of acrobatic moves, booty bumps, flipping off the ropes, and she's taking on Lana, and Lana's not doing that, the match is gonna look terrible. You're gonna be like, okay, all right, well, why are you doing all these moves if Lana can't even do a fucking full suplex? So Naomi actually had to dumb down her moveset, which is if you look at the videos from the past and now look at now, and I've already done it, we've done it on Wrestle Talk Media. You look at it now, you say, okay, I get it. Yeah, you're right. She does have to dumb down her moves now because she was a little too much. But looking at what the AJ Lee era was, AJ Lee really took it down very badly. The only way it was selling is by her taking pictures or photos or something. That was the only reason why people really took notice. Like, okay, she's cute. She's a terrible champion, but she's cute looking. I like her.
I mean, speaking about the Divas title, do you think it's gonna get changed? Because I know Paige, who I feel like WWE is really high on. I know she said in the Stone Cold podcast that she wants to change it. She kind of said it, like snuck it in there. Um, do you think like that it is gonna change? Because I mean, I
AJ, a lot
personally
of things,
like I feel like she might do it,
a
like
lot of
just
things that
because of the whole anti-diva thing.
okay, a lot of things that AJ Lee be saying is basically AJ Lee. One thing she does, and I do like about her, she listens to her fans. I remember before AJ Lee posted and did an interview, she was all big fan. She, oh, I love the new Divas. I love the Divas title. But all of a sudden, when the fans started saying stuff, oh, we need to change. I don't like it. I never was for it. She's really a troll. She does whatever the fans say. She says what they want to say. She sides with the fans. That's no big secret about AJ Lee. So when it comes to her interviews right now, I never gave two shits. 'Cause I like she flip flops up to, oh, I'm for it, or I'm not. Oh, I was for it. And the only reason they should change the Divas title is if they do a unification with the Divas and the NXT title. Um, there should be no NXT Women's Championship. It will right now it's time to unify those belts because there's no point in keeping the women separate. They should have to go through the brand switch. It should be a pretty much it should be a open door with the whole Divas division. It should be an NXT diva and this diva. The roster with women should just be the roster playing out. That's because if we're talking about a diva should not be bounded. If she's an NXT, what the hell is an NXT diva? If you're gonna say a divas division, that means that you can't bound a diva. What Beyonce say, a diva is a female version of a hustler. In her definition. So you don't bound them. You don't put them in cages or put them in categories. Oh, they have to be there. No, you take the NXT. You bring on the Divas champion to go against the NXT champion. You have whoever wins, winner takes all, and you unify the belts and you change the belt. You change the new look of it, and you present it as though now the bridge is gapped. There's no more main roster move up. No, this is a Divas division, so they can run roughshod on any brand. SmackDown, Raw, NXT. The women's division will be displayed on every broadcast ever. They will not be bound to the guys have to earn their way to either show. It's like that. It should be like that in life. Women. Like if you look at how it depicts life, women don't really have to go through that hardship. Women already have it rough on some ends. So the guys should have to basically move up the ladder. The women should have their own world.
Yeah, and I think with you saying they should unify the belts. I I just think in general with any title, they it has to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
The WWE Championship has changed multiple times. Just from the late '90s, you had that belt to it changed the early 2000s. Belts have to change anyway, just because you kind of get bored with it. Even John Cena eventually got tired of the spinner belt. A lot of people did. So I think it's going to change eventually anyway, whether they do unify the knockouts or the NXT women's title and the WWE Divas title, whatever. I think it's going to change eventually, just because that's kind of the natural progression of titles. They all kind of change eventually. But what I wanted to ask you guys is your thoughts on. I know DJ hasn't watched the full show yet, but what are you guys' thoughts on TNA? And this is more of a gimmicky thing to kind of get people interested in, watching the show. What do you think about them giving the knockouts the chance to possibly win the World Heavyweight title with the World Heavyweight title tournament that they have going on?
Go ahead, DJ.
Hmm. Um, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, because it's not that I don't think women should be able to do it, but I think it goes back to TNA and their attempts to revolutionize women in wrestling anyway. Because we haven't seen something like this in a very, very long time. So I mean, logically, it makes a lot of sense, but I still, I just don't feel like, I don't feel like it's the right move. I just feel like it's gonna kind of diminish some of the importance of what has really become a really important title. But I mean, if they do it right, it maybe could really help, especially if they help both divisions. They could kind of play off of each other, where like the world title picture can look really strong, and it can help back go to the knockouts division and help that. Because it already looks strong now, but I feel like it could help it go even higher. So like I guess my first impression was like, no, I don't like it. But I think after thinking about it and kind of talking myself into it, it could actually be a pretty good idea because they could do a really good job of maybe playing off of each other.
Okay. My opinions on it is it's like this. TNA bringing in the women with the knockouts division into this the world title series tournament which we're speaking of. Um, it's actually a brilliant idea. I could have been, I think years ago I could have been crucial about it, but I'm also start off by saying this. You know, a lot of the wrestling community in general, we've become so much of critics and of jokesters, and we've been so bitchy and fed up with some of the wrestling product that we've been given that we forget how to be a fan and how to actually understand storylines. If you actually, and when people talk about the importance of a world heavyweight title, now we talk about the importance of a title, how grand it should be. TNA is actually living up to that by saying, hey, this title is so important that everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. Even the guys that's just coming in that don't know a lick about it, because they got the wild card, which is basically the rookies and the alias guys that ain't been having very much of luck in TNA. Then you got this division, you got that division, that division. Every division wants that one title, that one grand prize. That makes that belt look 10 times better than any belt around because everybody wants it. Why? No, think about it. Let's go to another company. Why don't the Divas want the World Heavyweight WWE title? Why don't they want to be WWE champion? Is it something against it? Is it not cool? Is it not good? You know, if you think about it, when every division says, you know what, fuck my belt, fuck my division, I want that belt right there. Everybody wants it. So that means that is a bigger prize than what you ever thought it was. When the knockouts say, you know what, this knockouts title is cool, but I want that. That makes that belt look so much more grand than anything. And if you talk about give women a chance, if you talk about the trend, the trend is that it's all time best. They capitalize on it better to me, you know, by saying, you know what, we're gonna actually give women a chance. We're not gonna say we're gonna give women a chance. We're just gonna do it. We're gonna but TNA, they can drop the ball or they can make a very good success out of this, because a lot of people have tried to I guess show the evolution and say, okay, well, it's gonna happen like this if it happened like this. Look, the only way this can be successful for TNA, if they were, say for instance a woman was to slip through and make it to the finals, for instance, the only woman in which nobody would disagree with me, the only woman that should make it to the finals is Awesome Kong. And the only person to make this successful, this is just my opinion. The only person that will make this successful is if Awesome Kong is facing EC3. Now, with that being said, if she's facing EC3, EC3 already picks up. He's already pound for pound the best heel out there by far. He pulls it off the best. Now, going up against Awesome Kong, who is a very serious competitor, who really you can't take her as a joke. You know, you can't. EC3 can knock her down, but that's a pretty big woman to knock down. And having those two create a rivalry, and EC3 beats her in a cheating fashion, that gives him more heat as a heel, and it gives Awesome Kong more props as a monster female, as though like he couldn't beat me, he had to cheat. And then you have a situation, you know, EC3 gets the belt and have Awesome Kong. Now, if I would do it, I wouldn't let Awesome Kong win the belt. Wouldn't let her win the belt. I'll let her get payback to where EC3 constantly dodges her and says, you know what, no, I haven't got time for. I'm not gonna fight you. I'm not gonna give you a rematch like that. To where if Dixie Carter is really the woman that she is about her and loves her knockouts division, to where she would trap her nephew. So you know what, one impact where he's running from Kong again, She says, you know what? Stay in that ring. You're not going nowhere. And everybody that's in the back comes and blocks the area. And Awesome Kong says, you know what? No, Awesome Kong, this Carter says something like, hey, Kong, you want your match against EC3? EC3, you don't want to give her your match? Well, you're going to fight in that. And Awesome Kong goes down there and fights him, not for the belt, but for one thing. I think y'all can kind of get where I'm going with this. Awesome Kong beats EC3, but guess what she beats him for? Streak. Let Awesome Kong beat him for his streak, not the belt. Keep the belt as precious to us guys. Let us guys have our belt.
No.
Yes.
No.
But okay, now listen to the chance then. Listen to the chance though. Think about the chance. He's a heel. What better person to beat EC3 and to really give him that heat that he already alludes and gets than letting Awesome Kong beat him? But you can't look at Awesome Kong as a joke because she's never been taken as a joke. Think about it. She's not a joke by far. But if you build this rivalry up, this feud up to where she's constantly chasing him, he won't give her a title shot. She's constantly chasing him, and it works up to all of a sudden, Dixie Carter stops Ethan Carter from running, and he say, you know what, you're gonna face her. And through all the shenanigans in that match, she lobos whatever she does it, and she beats him, and EC3 loses his streak to her. What shock and awe would that be, and what humiliation would it be for the biggest heel in possibly the industry right now?
Oh yeah. Oh, that hit me. Not the streak, man. Not
I know, not the okay. So you rather her take the title than the streak?
I wouldn't. I just can't. I can't see EC3 losing, man. Come on, years, man.
Hold on. Okay, well, who do you want EC? I'm saying, like, let's see. Let's think about it though. Let's think about the gold of EC3. He's gonna eventually lose his streak. But you can say, well, let him lose to Bobby Lashley, let him lose to Bobby Roode. But then again, what real buzz is gonna get?
Yeah, that would make more of an impact. I feel I agree.
Pun intended.
The pun. Yeah, that would make more of an impact if she did it, just because you wouldn't expect it either. I feel like, and that's one of the things that frustrates me about wrestling fans in general is, and TNA does a good job of it. They do a good job of doing unexpected things, but people always frown upon the unexpected thing. Like, I feel like the majority of wrestling fans would crap on TNA for doing that. If they did that, they would crap on them for doing that, and just because it's unexpected, just because it's different.
I feel like to that kind of effect, the internet has ruined fans because think about it. Impact is pre-recorded. SmackDown is pre-recorded. So we can always go online and find out what's going to happen. So it's kind of when we do get those surprises, we're either let down or it's something that we don't want. Awesome Kong winning the title or whatever. I think it's kind of made us kind of that, in a way, that bratty kid that always gets what he wants, because we can always look online and see, okay, this is going to happen on Impact. Okay, this is going to happen on SmackDown. I mean, we can't really do it with Raw or pay-per-views because those are live, but we have that luxury to maybe our standards are too high. Maybe that's making our standards too high to where we're expecting this amazing show, and then when we don't get what we expected, oh, that show was shit. That was horrible. Blah blah blah. And that could happen with it's kind of, I feel like it's a roll of the dice. With whatever they do with if they have Awesome Kong win the title.
Well, that's why I said the only way, the best way that I can see fit, because I take consideration from the fans, because you have to understand the viewers now. So honestly, I think the proof is in the pudding. If they do it the way I just said do it, which is about the only way people would less bitch about it, is because they would have to milk. It would have to be a storyline. It had to be a lead up to her actually beating EC3 for his streak, not for the belt, because the belt. I mean, there's no importance for her to win the belt because by far they already did the great thing, which is letting the women compete in the world title series. So they already accomplished it. It's like them winning the. It's basically like them winning the world title already because they're considered in this hunt. So they accomplished that part already because that's something that you've never seen before. So I don't like it when TNA when they outdo themselves. Don't outdo yourself when nobody else is out there to outdo you in it. So you already pretty much trumped NXT's Sasha Banks and Bayley match. Reason why I say that because some like, wow, that was great. How would they trump that? These women are competing for the world title. Sasha Banks and Bayley, they don't even have a shot at the damn United States title. Why is not a woman coming out there for the United States opening challenge? It's an open challenge. Not one woman is saying, I'm going to challenge you. Tamina's not running out there.
JoJo out there. JoJo's going to do it. She's going to come in. She's going to challenge for it. She's going to win.
That brings me to another point. You know, China is the only woman in WWE who has won a men's title.
Or eyed a man's title.
Yeah, she's been the Intercontinental Champion twice. So if she could do that, why hasn't it been done again? Why hasn't anyone else? Why didn't Lita? Why didn't Trish Stratus?
I think Lita did compete. I think she. I don't know. Somebody could look that up down there, maybe in the comments below. Did Lita compete for a championship opportunity besides the women's championship in WWE? I think she did. If I'm not mistaken, I believe she did. I could be wrong, but I think she was one of one, or she just had a match with a fellow. But I think she did compete for a belt. I don't know. I don't know if I'm wrong or not. But yeah, I mean, it would have to be done that way. I mean, because it is. When you look at the shock value of Awesome Kong beating EC3, that'll be great. But not on the world title. No, the belt part. That'll be TNA shit. That'll be them topping themselves again, and basically be shitting on because the history right now in the history book is gonna be the knockouts were added to the world title series. Okay, good. Y'all made history. Don't outdo history right then. That's kind of fucked up. Don't do that. Go ahead and say, okay, now let's focus on something else. Let's put up a good storyline because Awesome Kong needs a good storyline. It's time for her to start talking. It's time for her to start because she got good mic skills. So it's time for her to start speaking and talking. So now give her a good storyline because clearly she's kind of outgrown the knockouts division. So let's give her this run where, you know, she's going up against the biggest, slickest, most conniving Ric Flair in the New Days. Sensation EC3 because he is that Flair type of character right now. He's the closest thing we have to a Flair in this time. So give her a shot at this guy and have her beat this guy, not for the belt, for his streak. That's really his most prized possession, his streak. That's what he brags about. So now when he comes out to the ring, they're gonna be like, you know, they're gonna taunt him, they're gonna tease him about him losing to you lost to a girl, you got beat what that is gonna make his character so much gold. Like, just imagine how it's gonna look when he comes out to the ring and how many boos and how people are gonna just really react to him. It's gonna be epic. And he didn't lose to Test Marker. He didn't lose to some little skinny chick. He lost to a badass woman. You know.
And then imagine his responses because you know EC3 is probably one of the best at responding to the crowd about stuff like that. So imagine his responses.
That will be TNA. If you're listening, go with that. That will be gold because I mean it's a win-win with that one. I mean you elevate a heel at it because he can EC3 can like, oh well, it don't matter. I still got my title or what I did, but they gonna say you gotta be back. It's gonna like the chants are gonna be crazy. The internet's gonna be going crazy. Negatives, positives, but I think it'd be more positive than negative because the negative that they need is for the champion. The champion is supposed to be looked at as a sucker, as a bad guy. He's the guy that you wanna hate, you want to talk bad about. You don't really want to praise him, but right now EC3 is so good at it as a heel. He's so epic as a heel that to the point where hell, he's favored highly. You know, I like booing him. I like not liking this guy because he's just gold when it like I don't know what WWE did with Derek Bateman, they just fucked up because whatever this guy was hiding, he really hit that character because EC3 is way better than Seth Rollins. He did it better. The spoiled champion, he did this character way, way better. And being Seth Rollins should have been under, but he couldn't be undefeated because he came in with the group. But Seth Rollins, he's it's like they tried to go that route with him, you know. But I think Randy Orton did it better as a spoiled champion than Seth Rollins right now, being the spoiled, protected champion. That's what he's trying to. The role Seth Rollins trying to portray, he failed miserably at it. I mean, nobody gives a shit about. I mean, honestly, the guys just held 2 belts, and honestly, I don't think people really know how glorious and prideful that is to have the United States title and the World Heavyweight title at the same time. But it's like the sensation that they just got shitted on. So that lets you know how much of a great champion he really is. When people don't even really glorify it. They don't really care, you know. But let Ric Flair would have had 2 belts in his prime on doing the first ever. I'd have been glorified because he was such an awesome heel. He was just such an awesome guy to hate and like and dislike. But EC3, this guy is just, you can't look for a better heel than EC3 right now. You know, it's just he's a total package. You got everything in one with EC3. Just imagine if he one day turns face. Oh my gosh, I rest my case. The guy's he's gonna be gold regardless.
Yeah, and you think about it with him, and EC3 has probably gotten really used to being a heel. But you look at it, especially if he's getting like some sort of mentoring from like a guy like Eric Young, who like has turned that heel character into like Eric something Young. We never thought EY would be this good at being a heel.
He's channeling his inner Macho Man, but the serious Macho Man. I don't know if many people remember the serious Macho Man that was kicking Hogan's ass in WWE, the WWF days back in them days, where Macho Man was more methodical and he was more, I'm gonna hurt you again, I'm gonna break your neck, and I'm gonna kill you. Like he was real paranoid about Miss Elizabeth, you know, and those storylines. Eric EY is really channeling that good. Like I heard some negative comments about EY. Like, I don't buy him as well, if you look at it, EY's character has always been heel. He's just been a zany, crazy, loony person, which he's always been a loony, crazy person. But now he's loony, crazy to a max to where he's psychotic. So his evolution is not really far-fetched. He's always been a bad guy. Look at Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode is always Bobby Roode is still a heel. He just does noble heel shit. That's pretty much it. Bobby Roode, he's still all for himself. Everything Bobby Roode talks about is for himself. So a lot of people forget that, like, oh, he's face now. He's not a face. It's like Stone Cold. Stone Cold was never really a face. Never. He done everything he done was a heel move. He'll be in the ring with Hogan and then stun him in a second. Like, that's not a face move. That's a bad thing. You don't just beat the guy or just stun the referee. The referee didn't do nothing. What'd you stun him for? You know, pick Earl Hebner up off the goddamn ground. You know, so you know, when we look at situations like this, EY is gold, EC3 is gold, but we giving TNA too much praise right now. But I mean, we have to take notes of certain situations and that are good. But back to the women's division in total, and we are just pretty much noting TNA and WWE. But you look at who really kind of alluded to this first, Lucha Underground. I don't know if y'all just that shabby on Lucha Underground.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. With the even with the not only the men on women thing, but the trios titles. Mm-hmm. With the trios titles.
Man, yo, that's kind of genius to in my opinion. That was kind of genius with Lucha Underground and them. But I wasn't a big fan of Sexy Star because I think Lucha Underground, they kind of dropped the ball with that one. With having Sexy Star is really not much of a threat, though. You know, having her beat some of the guys compete, I was like, really?
I think honestly, the way they built Mil Muerte, I can't say his name for anything. Muerte. Yeah, but the way they built him, I think Katrina would have been maybe a good one too. Just the way they built him and her as a
Okay, is your mic still up? Okay. Right.
Yeah, I think it's the way it was twisted. Did you hear me though? I was saying that the way they built Mil Muertes and Katrina as a pair, I think Katrina would have been a good one too to go for it.
So as I was looking at it, with Lucha Underground, a lot of people are like, wow, they talking about Lucha Underground. Yes, Lucha Underground too. We talking about wrestling all in general. They were the first to kind of go with that tournament, the World Tournament Series, or I guess the Grand Prize, or I forget how they was putting it, but going for the title faction, the world title, their great world title or whatever like that. They really capitalized on it pretty good, but I lie, my bad. They did it poorly with adding a woman into there. Like I think the wrong woman was added into there. I think they probably could have scouted it and got a more viable threat of a woman to be competing in this type of realm. Because Sexy Star, she's sexy, she's the star, but she's you really don't want to see her, pull some cute moves to beat these guys or do no Rey Mysterio shit on nobody right then and there, and then she tiptoes her way up to the top. Or you really don't want to see nobody, put her ass in a pedigree and put her down. You really don't want to see that. So it's kind of like, it kind of made the guys have to dumb down a little bit or have to they have to oversell their moves with Sexy Star. That's my biggest problem, or if you're going to, I feel like this, if you're going to have a woman go in there and beat some of these guys, have her do a submission, have her choke them out. Simple, If that's the case, let her do a freakish choke move to choke a man. Like if you look at some of the action movies, the greatest action movies, what is the most viable thing that a woman does to a man? She wraps her legs around him, chokes him out, kills him. She never really does a blowing strike or valuable knee kick and just kills him. No, she always usually chokes him with something, wraps him around his neck, puts her legs around his neck, then snaps his neck, a la Katana or Sonya Blade. She does something to him that just pretty much puts him in submission and he's out. So if you're gonna really make these women or make Sexy Star such a threat, let them put him in a submission and put the guy put in a seductive move and it's out. He's out for it. But I think Lucha Underground, they did a poor example of trying to put a woman through the World Title Series. It was just too much of a tiptoeing around they had to do in that type of, make it believable. It just wasn't believable. That's my problem. But TNA, if Awesome Kong is going up in ranks right now, is looking very believable. But we haven't seen her. Well, we've seen her fight men in TNA before. She's already fought guys, so it was very believable. So I have no complaints with how she wrestled or beat a man in TNA. She was highly believable when she whooped guys in squash matches. So she's that guy. I mean, if she's that woman, she's that chick. Or China, for instance, China, she sells it well, and guys can sell it well with a more physical woman. Hey, Chase, you back?
I'm back. Yeah.
You skipping out on this stuff. I don't like that.
My computer crashed, and then it decided to take a half an hour to restart again.
Like the computer, look, T-Sean's talking too much. We're gonna go off air.
No, my computer's like, you know what? They're not talking about me, so fuck you.
And what's up with Ring of Honor? Why don't Ring of Honor have any, like the women's, like, I don't.
I'm surprised they don't.
Yeah, they're all about wrestling.
Hello? Oh, the microphone is tripping. It is tripping.
Testing,
I
one,
saw
two,
something today about Women of Honor on their website. I don't know what it is. I never looked into it, but maybe they are starting a women's division. I know they had the Maria Kanellis ODB match not too long ago, but I saw Women of Honor something on the website, so maybe they are starting. Because I feel like they could do a really good job with the women's wrestling, to be honest.
Oh, let's throw it out there. Hot topic. Why in the blue? We can curse on her, can't I? I don't know if I probably dropped a couple extra ones.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Why in the flu gazy fuck has WWE never ever started a women's tag team division? Like they have way more female wrestlers on their roster than TNA does. Why in the? But I think on the Wrestle Talk Media, me, a good friend American, and everybody, we was talking about this once before. We were saying that maybe it's just WWE trying to be, they don't want to hear that. Oh, you guys got it from TNA. TNA already done that. I guess they're trying to run away from that. But right now, honestly, who cares that TNA did it first? Right now, I mean. It'd be good to go ahead and do that. Do it now. TNA they've unified the the tag titles or whatever. They kind of put them on the shelf now. So I feel like WWE is because look at this. This is the reason why I allude to this, and I think y'all will agree with me on this one or disagree. But they've been putting women in tag teams for what they've been doing tag teams forever. The closest thing they had to a Divas title tag team title division was when they made Michelle McCool and Lay Cool half champions. It was like both of them had the title or whatever like that, and they were carrying pieces of it, and they was competing together. So I guess that's the closest thing. But really, there's no point. Like these teams, the reason why these teams are not working out is because where's the titles? You got a Divas champion and two cronies. You got three groups. We got another group of the bad chicks, and you got these PC whatever the hell girls, and all of them are bidding in. They're fighting and battling every week in teams, and all of them going for one title, which makes no fucking sense. You're like, okay, so all of y'all are divas. Divas it's a diva. They're not really just they're bitchy and they're catty. They're not really trying to be partners with anybody. But they're putting themselves together and they're fighting as teams against their opponents. And they're teaming with their opponent, who's Paige has already been beat down, the girl she's already teaming with, but now they're trusting her. And then you have Tamina. It's like, okay, then Alicia Fox is now being partners with the woman that beat her several times for the title. It's like, okay, now this is kind of confusing. So everybody's cool with having one title. Where is the world? Where's the tag team titles?
I agree with that. I agree. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that because it makes a lot of sense. Because why? What are they really fighting for? I know you're fighting to be the best and whatnot, but what are you really fighting for? And if WWE did it, like people wouldn't like discredit it. I feel like because it's WWE.
I think it's I think people are paying. I mean, of course, you're gonna have the internet. They're gonna say it. They're gonna say it. Chase, they're gonna say it. They're gonna say, oh, TNA done that already. But TNA, they did it good too. So that was the biggest problem. I think they trashed it at the end when EY won it. But EY was crazy and zany, so it was kind of passable. But it's like Santino winning the women's or the Divas belt or what like that. But at the same time, I think they're safe to go ahead and do it now. I don't think they have to worry about the backlash of, TNA did it already. Y'all are copying TNA. I don't think they have to worry about that. And plus, I think nobody's gonna really care. So, what you think, Chase?
Well, kind of going with that, not even just a tag team division. Why aren't there multiple divisions in these women's divisions? The guys have the World Heavyweight Championship. They have the tag team titles. They have Intercontinental title. They have in NXT or in TNA they have the X Division title. Why do the women only get one title? Give them a tag team.
They can compete for other titles. They can. They actually can. It's just more feasible to defend for a women's division area. That's one of the main things. And because you think back now, we go back to of course WWE with China winning or competing for the title. Matter of fact, I think Lita didn't she enter the Royal Rumble? Yeah, she entered the Royal Rumble. One of the Royal Rumbles like this. So she was bidding for a title. Women have bidded for the titles before, And so it's just that with the Intercontinental and the United States title, it's just I guess no women are trying to compete. It doesn't say that they can't compete for those belts, or like the X Division and King of the Mountain, or it doesn't say it. I think a woman could step into it and say, hey, I want to compete for this belt here, like that. But I think it's more feasible to just compete for, your realm.
Yeah, and also you were saying, we feel like WWE didn't want to add a women's division because fans will say or a tag team division because fans will say, oh, they stole that from TNA, and I feel like WWE tried so hard to act like there was no other promotions there. They tried to ignore TNA for so long, and to be honest, I was surprised when they picked up Samoa Joe because for a while there, I mean, yes, Christian went to TNA, a couple other guys went from WWE to TNA, but there weren't many where WWE signed a former TNA star. You know, that kind of surprised me when they picked up Samoa Joe, and I'm glad that they did. Because not that he needs to be in NXT or that he needs to train or anything, but I feel like he could help. Uh,
Well, it's
tra-
been several people that they picked up as the W10A stars. R Truth is one of them. Ron Truth Killings. He was a champion in TNA, multiple champion. Of course, Caval, aka Low Key. He was one of the most highlighted X Division champions. So there's plenty of other people that they've brought over that were in the top spotlight and the main I guess glorified, but W, of course, you see what they did to him, you know. So, but it had been it like I guess what you're saying. It had been a while since they had took a star from TNA, but all this was before. See, one of the main reasons why W did this, or they not try to mention TNA because they got caught up when the whole scandal of the WB doing the getting the little sheets of the contract sheets and TNA started suing them. So of course WB they started ignoring TNA now act like they don't exist because they constantly going back and forth to court. Then the whole situation that Christian came up and it was Christian going to to be in WB and TNA. That was a crossover, and TNA wanted to bring over Ric Flair for and no, I mean WB wanted to bring in Ric Flair for the Hall of Fame situation. They had to work the court situation through that. So it's a lot of stuff that they had to continue to do, and WB was like, you know what, we're not going to acknowledge them. We don't want to acknowledge these people no more. No, so that was one reason why it made that the iconic John Cena reference towards TNA going to there so iconic was, this was at a time when they really were going to court real heavy. So that was the bomb that was dropped, and or when Caval mentioned his TNA reference in his rap song like this. So that's what always made it so edgy because at these times were very fragile for TNA and WWE because they were constantly going to court. TNA was kicking their asses in court a lot, constantly suing WWE. And right now, I think I don't know if it's settled or done yet, but they in court now again. So that's one reason why WWE is really, really, really like ignoring the hell out of TNA. And shouts out to Stone Cold for actually making constantly mentioning TNA in front of Triple H and Vince McMahon, kind of putting them in the hot seat. Like, so you're not gonna mention us, TNA? Well, how you feel about competition? And Vince was like, they're not we don't well, yeah, sure. It was priceless. I mean, that moment was priceless. I was like, oh my gosh, did Stone Cold just do that? Did he really just do that? You know how much Vince McMahon is constantly trying to ignore and not acknowledge, and he's in his world. He's kayfabe. Was it kayfabe? They call it kayfabe. Kayfabe.
Kayfabe, yeah.
Yeah, kayfabe. Yeah, he's doing that. Like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Team, what? I don't know that. So all of a sudden, Stone Cold just axes them. Just does it, and I think that was so rude of Stone Cold to do that because you clearly see that Vince McMahon was not ready for that one. He was like, oh, look, you gonna go there? we in court with these fools. Really? What did y'all think about that moment though? When that happened?
I think that's why fans like the Stone Cold podcast so much because we are, he's going to ask the hard questions. He's going to ask the questions that we want to know that other people are afraid to ask. Austin's not afraid to ask, McMahon or Triple H anything. And I will admit we didn't exactly get answers that we wanted. They still kind of, danced around it, without answering. But the fact that he, walked right into it and said, hey, I'm going to ask you these hard questions and did. I like it. That's why I keep watching when they come out, the Austin podcasts.
But I think it was genius, especially Vince McMahon's response. So is that TNA is not competition or what they would. Really, if you break it down, yeah, they are because they're in the same market. They're bidding for the same sponsorships. They're in the same arenas. They're reaching the same goal. WWE wants to maintain. TNA wants to gain. So it's still the same. When you're and to make Vince McMahon contradicting themselves easily by when Spike wanted to really go full-fledged with his Monday Night Wars, the only way it was going to be successful if they were able to get arenas. And Spike was only going to put money into promotion Because a lot of people were complaining. I said TNA they don't have trucks and stuff pulling up. They don't have all this promotion that WWE has. Spike was going to put forth the money with this Monday night situation. The only problem with what it was that Vince McMahon is such a genius. WWE they're so powerful, such genius moves, strategic moves that they were doing. What WWE started doing was purchasing and outbidding them for different arenas. If TNA said they want to get the Berkeley Arena, WWE was like, okay, hold up, we'll hold that building. What you got? How much they put on it? Okay, well we're gonna put this on it. We're gonna hold that arena, and it was no big secret. It was already leaked out there that WWE was doing this to TNA, stopping them from going to different arenas and buying out arenas, and it's well documented fact for those who watch it. Well documented fact that it was happening. So that was one of the main reasons why Spike said, you know what, we're out. We don't want to do that because you guys can't get these arenas because every time we try to get one, we want to get the Sunset Stadium like that. We can't get it because all of a sudden WWE they already purchased it, or they're gonna outbid us, or they're gonna go ahead and hold the arena for us.
And I think that's kind of, unfortunately, it's a downfall for TNA. You know,
yes, it did. Look at what it did to him.
Yeah.
That move really worked because by not having that backing, that funding that they wanted, the extra funding they wanted from Spike to do the promotions and worldwide and other promotions in different cities when they go in different towns for these arenas, they needed that. It's amazing that they survived this blow, but that was a very and I commend Vince McMahon on this one. It was a very brilliant, beautiful idea to do.
Yeah.
So you know what? Let's buy out that arena out real quick because a lot of people complaining TNA they're not in an arena. That was the main reason. For those that don't know, there was a reason why they were not in arenas because WWE was buying, was outbidding them and overbidding them. And if they put a down payment on the arena, they just say, okay, hey, we're gonna go ahead and give you $50,000 already. Okay, well, damn, okay, well, shit. Well,
Yeah.
it's already good, guys.
And it's unfortunate for TNA that they don't have the funds that WWE, billionaire Vince McMahon has. Even WCW, they had Ted Turner. Yes, he wasn't a wrestling guy. He didn't have the wrestling mind that Vince had, but he had the money to put into the Monday Night Wars back in the late '90s. I feel like a major reason that they didn't win is because he wasn't a wrestling guy. He was just a guy who got into the wrestling business and wanted to own a wrestling company.
I love how the story is now, like, if you listen to a lot of Eric Bischoff's interviews now and how he's watered down and how he's changed the story, but that's due to contracts and agreements with WWE now. The first, I remember the original. I think this interview was actually taken down. It was an interview that was done by Eric Bischoff, and this is fresh off the heels of what's going on with WCW. Eric Bischoff wanted to buy. He was offered to get WCW from Ted Turner because it wasn't that WCW couldn't survive. It was going to survive, of course. They weren't competing. Think about WWE and the WCW. They weren't competing in the realm of just on the network. Hell, TNT was on its own network. The Turner Network is its own network. So if anything, honestly, WCW was competing against other shows on the network. They were not competing against USA. They were already They were already the highest rated show. So they really already won. It's like people saying, oh. It's like saying TNA is competing for ratings with NXT or WWE. No, they're not, because they're actually competing with the people they're actually competing with the other networks that's already on the channel. That's what they're competing with. That's their competition. Their competition is really not. WWE's competition was never WCW, honestly, because they were not on the same freaking network. The only way WCW and WWE would be at war, if you really want to have a Monday Night Wars, because the Monday Night Wars is a big sham. It was just a marketing tool. So for you fans that don't know, it was a big lie. There was never a real Monday Night War, because want to know why? WWE was never on TNT. WCW was never on USA. So if you really want to have a Monday Night War, I'll tell you what. If we really want to do this, if WWE really want to stop lying, what you should do is, since you purchase all of WCW's episodes, you have their whole catalog. What you do is you say, you know what, we're gonna air WCW Nitro on USA on Saturdays, and air WWE's Raw Attitude Era on Sundays or Saturdays at the same time. Matter of fact, at the same different times, an hour ahead or this time ahead. Do it like that, and let's see which one wins. That's how you have a war. You don't do a war and say, "Oh, they're on network and they're on network. We're gonna see who gets the highest." That's not a war. Let's just okay. This is friendly competition. Okay, let's just see who gets the highest ratings. Oh well, but if you put them on the same channel and see who outdoes with them, and then which one of the networks says, you know what, we're gonna cancel this show. The WCW show is not really getting no views on it at this particular time, so we're gonna cancel this. That's how you do that. That's how you do a war. So for everybody that thinks that it's not. No, it's not really competition. Not at all. You know, no, not by far. But I just feel like by WWE trying to ignore certain different companies and the different storytelling that's going on with all of this stuff. You know, Ted Turner was a great funding for WCW, but of course he's and Vince McMahon is not a millionaire. I mean, he's not a billionaire. He's a millionaire. WWE is what 800 million. TNA and of course the Power Incorporated, they're 25 billion. So when you look at the facts between it, you say WWE is 800 million. The network is 800 million at most. And if TNA collectively with Panda Energy, if they are Panda Energy on its own is 25 billion, which is mega light years ahead. And if you say, well, TNA's network is I think 35 billion to be exact. But if you want to depict them, but still Panda Energy has TNA, so therefore that's you add in 35 million to that 25 billion. Well, you know the math of that. So if we really look at it, it looks to me, and not just defending TNA, but speaking off facts, it looks to me that if there's any wishes of TNA going out of business, you're shit out of luck, because TNA is still, and I was talking about this with a couple more colleagues on Wrestle Talk Media. We had a very heated debate about this because people like to speak with this wrestling community. I'm sorry to take it up just for a second, but with this wrestling community, there's a lot of fugazi talk. Everybody want to talk fictional, or they want to talk favoritism. Me, I'm a realist. I'm gonna talk the facts and bring them together and understanding at the same time. It looks to me, if I'm on a business strategy, Dixie Carter is actually doing her and her colleagues are doing a smart thing by not utilizing those billions just yet. Because look at what TNA can do without the billions. They're doing fairly well without it. They're still in that baby stage. They're still in that teenage stage. When WWE was in that stage, they weren't in arenas a lot of the times. Hell, they were you see WCW in fucking Mall of America. Or you'll see I saw I think one of the Saturday main event. I think it was in the Coliseum. It was in a gymnasium with Lex Luger, British Bulldog versus the Hart Foundation. It was in a little small ass Coliseum. And that was I'm sorry, that was a main event. That was Raw. I mean it was in a small ass venue. So this was around. This would be the same age that TNA would be at that time. So we're talking about, the years of these companies. TNA is actually being smart by seeing what they can do without such funding. They may utilize a little bit of that. Take some of the millions and then use like for a contract or whatever like that. But they're seeing what they can do without it, and they're gaining a lot without all of the funding. All of the money. They're doing a lot without of it. So if we really think about it, if TNA wanted to put some pressure, if they really wanted to put some heat in the wrestling world, they could. That's the scary thing about looking at what TNA and Panda Energy can actually do. They could actually take over if they wanted to. With 25 billion, tell me what they can't do. Tell me, I dare any wrestling fan to challenge and say, well, they can't. Are you crazy? 25 billion? WWE's entire net worth is 800 million. You can't fuck with the billions. I'm just saying. So when we talk about wrestling politics in general, it's kind of tough to really just count or say that TNA is not a option or a fact for Vince to say a remark like that. You could end up eating your words. Because
I feel like as a wrestling fan, a lot of the better wrestling shows are the shows where they don't have to spend the billions of dollars on,
Hmm.
these big arenas or these fancy sets. As long as you have the talent and, good storylines, you can have a really good show. I don't care if you're in Madison Square Garden or my high school's local gymnasium. If you have the talent and you have a good show, you don't need, to be Vince McMahon and have, you know, this big elaborate, set for, pay-per-views. I mean, it's cool to see, but what does it really do for the show? Not much, I don't think.
That is true. That's true. But I just had to throw that out there since we was elaborating on Vince McMahon and that remark that he made that kind of pissed a lot of people off. I know it definitely pissed Dixie Carter off, but when reality hits a lot of fans and that's what I got no, I take back some. I'll draw back for a second to what you referenced earlier. You said fans of the internet messed up wrestling in general. A lot of fans focus on one thing that we shouldn't really be focused on, like the behind the scenes shit and this and that, like that. To me, it takes away from the enjoyment of just enjoy the product in the wrestling. All this this contract, this person's contract, this person. You worried about all of that? Like that's stuff you should not be worried about. You
See,
know.
with me, I like the backstage stuff, but not the business, the
Hmm.
contracts. I like, even seeing, when occasionally when I watch Total Divas, seeing the backstage area, seeing how, these
Yeah, that's
wrestlers
different.
interact.
Yeah, that's I get what you're saying. Yeah, that you want to see we want
Yeah,
to see some natural, but at the same time, I'm talking about the glorification of how
yeah,
everybody wants to be the reporter that I'm the hit journalist. And like everybody on like a lot of folks on YouTube, they're like hit journalists now. Breaking news. And I'm like, okay, dude, sit the fuck down. Okay, look, just and stop speculating too much. Just enjoy the product. I mean, because it's like to me the community is just too bitchy right now. As all I ever see is a lot of rants and rants. I understand about the complaining right now, especially with the WE product. They're too wealthy and too big to be such a shitty product right now. And it's too much of the WE does too much of that. We take you for stupid situation where they do stupid stuff and they're like, oh, you guys are dumb, so we're gonna do this. And, they're always trying to belittle your insult your intelligence. WWE does that a lot, a lot, a lot. Like why? Like prime example. If we talk about matchups, why is Roman Reigns not challenging John Cena for the United States title? What the hell? Why is Roman Reigns constantly worried about Bray Wyatt? He needs to go ahead and go for gold. I mean, clearly you guys have the match of the year, the rival of the year, John Cena versus Roman Reigns. He clearly has the hots for John Cena because John Cena beat his cousin. And there's a feud there. Clearly the Shield whooped the shit out of John Cena's ass. So there should be a rivalry going on between these two. Why are they dodging each other? It's so. And why is the Wyatts continuously fighting the Shield or half Shield? What is the end result? What's the end game? Like it's so many things they do to undermine. Like why are we getting this product? Why are we getting this matchup? Why is Adrian Neville constantly fighting Stardust back to back, back to back, back to back? DJ, you feel me on this? Going
Yeah,
back to back. I'm sorry.
yeah.
But it's just so much, man, that W does that I understand why a lot of fans are complaining a lot. They're bitching about it and gripe a lot because they do a lot of ridiculous shit. TNA does as well, but you would expect some mistakes from TNA though, right now, especially since they're not using such a big budget. But WWE, they're too. I mean, right now they're too number one right now to be doing the crap that they're doing. I don't really give them no pass on that one. Ring of Honor, I expect shit like that from Ring of Honor. Fucking up, or whatever. Any other, uh, I guess alias lower level entertainment wrestling company, I expect them to make mistakes like they're doing or fucked up matchups. But WWE, I guess they can afford it. I guess they can afford doing shitty
Literally,
shows. Yeah,
they can literally afford it.
yeah, they can afford it now.
I mean, it's crazy to think that the smaller promotions like the Ring of Honors, like the PWGs, you
Lucha
know,
Underground.
they don't, in general, don't fuck up shows. They don't fuck up matchups. They don't mess up anything. They constantly have good shows. And it's like if they're such a low, I don't want to say low quality show, but they're obviously smaller companies. Why is it that they make these, in general, really good shows, and WWE constantly gives us crap?
Would you say there's not as much pressure on those shows because of the network they're on, or maybe because of the low budget, there's not as much pressure, or maybe because uh, maybe the outlook of it is like, oh, it's a smaller company, so it doesn't have to be that good. So then you don't have as high expectations, but then it allows when they do like when they go over your expectations, you feel better about it. Like, is it because of the pressure? Maybe.
I mean, I guess, but I feel like they don't. I mean, yeah, they don't have that pressure because I feel like the fans that they have, they don't want them to get big like like TNA or WWE. You kind of want that smaller indie company, whatever. At least I do. It gives you something refreshing to watch.
Or to at least have his own identity, such as Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Lucha Underground has a totally different feel. That's why I've become a big fan of Lucha Underground. As long as they stick to their format. But I think if they were to become bigger and mainly branch out into the arenas, I think Lucha Underground will lose its intrigue because I don't know. I don't know if they would be able to keep up that type of like the culture of it is what you really go to Lucha Underground for. It's like, wow, the temple format, the whole situation. It gives you that, and I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I'm thinking. I'm so sorry, Chase. I'm hoping. I'm thinking that we're gonna end up getting a little tired of Lucha Underground eventually because we're gonna soak up the culture so much and the trend because it's a trend right now. The look is a trend. Then it's gonna become like, okay, all right, we're done with this. All right, well, and we're so used to seeing more mainstream live limelights and bright Titantrons that we're gonna be like, okay, now can you guys do this? And then they're gonna try to go back to it. And I think we're gonna have them problems. But right now, as a fan, I'm gonna enjoy it for right now. But I think we're gonna kind of get tired of it. Because look at it, New Japan or over in Tokyo. At first their format was, it was all traditional gong and the red dot flag and all that type of stuff. But then all of a sudden they went ahead and started adapting towards the mainstream look. With the big Titantron, Russell One, all that type of stuff. It started just becoming real big and stuff like that. So, it's just wondering when they're going to change up Lucha Underground. But I don't know. Are we going to accept the change?
And I think change can, it can build you or it can break you down. I think in some ways, and I'm not saying that
TNA,
TNA, yeah,
that happened.
I mean, I personally loved the Asylum days. Back when they were the Asylum. I feel like when they stopped the Asylum, it took a little bit away from it. It took, especially with the original diehard fans. It was something unique that they had, that it was just them. That they had the TNA Asylum, and it kind of it added that little something unique, kind of like Lucha Underground has the Temple. Um, and I mean, it kind of has its pros and cons because the big benefit of what WWE has always had is they travel from city to city, so a lot more fans are able to see them live, whereas when TNA was in the Asylum, or even when they were down in Florida, they had these house shows and stuff where they would travel around, but you weren't able to really, unless you traveled to Nashville or to Florida, you weren't able to see that real live kind of Impact show. and that kind of hurt them. I feel like a little bit.
True.
So there's kind of
DJ?
like pros and cons to it, But
How
yeah,
you feel, DJ?
About Lucha Underground, yeah, I think that unique style and unique presentation, you know, I think it has its place. I agree with you that a bigger stage, and I think that's just kind of the way of the fan too. The fan is used to things being a certain way, and a lot of times the fan wants to resist change. So I feel like you know some of the concepts would be great for mainstream wrestling and would be great for Lucha Underground. Some of the different titles that they have and stuff like that. But I don't know if the Temple thing. I like it personally because it is different. But I feel like with some wrestling fans, it wouldn't carry over. Like you said, you would get tired of it um, a little bit quicker than maybe you should.
Yeah, I don't know if TNA was going for this, if they were going for let people miss the six-sided ring situation, and then bring it back like that. Because sometimes that's really the trick, is to take it away and hear people's response. Let them complain and ask for it. Because look at it, was a campaign going on. Bring back the six-sided ring. Six-sided ring. There was a campaign going on, and people was just really going crazy about that. And then you give them what they want eventually. Let that be. It's like I think Daniel Bryan. I think like Daniel Bryan. We talk about this. Talk about campaigns and protesting. People wanting to get him a chance. It was more. I think WWE did it on purpose to get people to get behind him. You look at there's plenty of other wrestlers that have been in that situation where WWE was kind of like acting like they were against them, but then people like, we want this guy, we want this guy to be a champion, we want this guy to be the man, and but I think the company on purposely, knew it. I think they were going for Daniel Bryan, like with the storyline which I'm talking about is WWE kind of everybody thinking that WWE was biased against Daniel Bryan. I think that they were all for Daniel Bryan. It's just that you don't want to give Daniel Bryan that rub, and then people are like, okay, he's a company guy. You want to keep acting like he's not a company guy. Look at Stone Cold's run. Stone Cold was, even though Vince McMahon loves Stone Cold's dirty draws, but they could make it look like he was highly favored. He had to be the renegade. He had to be the outlaw. So, of course, make it look like WWE's totally against him. And that would make people rebel and be more pro Stone Cold than anything. So if Vince McMahon was be like, you know what, we're favoring you all the time. It's all about the presentation of things. So with Lucha Underground, now I'm pretty sure somebody just brought to my attention. Yeah, they sure are. Lucha Underground are supposed to be moving to another location. Actually, if everybody that saw Ultimate, I think it was Ultimate Lucha, they were alluding to at the end. He was saying like, we got to leave this place. I'm going to another location or something like that. He's gonna open up at another location, Lucha Underground, to be seen in. So apparently they're going to be in a new location supposedly. I don't know if y'all viewed the last episode, which was amazing. By the way, if you haven't seen it, people go look at Ultimate Lucha. And that was just a fucking awesome show. Storyline was great. All of it was just shit. If you don't enjoy it's especially one thing that I loved about that particular episode of Lucha Underground was the fact that it had the endings. You had never seen an ending like this. Like the exits were crazy. The characters and the way they exited the show was something unique. And I don't know. I felt some type of way about it. I was like, yo, this is awesome. How they're leaving the scene and they're leaving like, okay, maybe we'll be back next time or something. Like it was something special about that. So I don't know if anybody feels the same way, but it was something special about the ending of Lucha Underground or Ultima Lucha event, which is like their I guess their Bound for Glory, their WrestleMania, their main event.
Yeah. So yeah. I haven't watched Lucha Underground in a while, so I'll have to check that out. But anyway,
the only thing you need to watch is watch Ultimate Lucha. Watch the final episode. That right there is, I guarantee you're gonna like it. Cause Prince Puma and was it Mil Muerte or was it Blue Devil? Well, anyways.
Yeah, I think it was Mil Muertes. I haven't watched it yet, but I have it recorded. I just haven't been able to sit down and watch it.
Trust me, you won't be disappointed. I'm probably one of the most crucial wrestling fans. So you won't be disappointed. I was a little bit biased at first towards Lucha Underground, but I started watching it. Started checking it out, giving it a chance, and some of the episodes were because I ended up watching on YouTube, and YouTube would play it and then play the next one. Like they literally had YouTube has this continue play thing that they do, and I'll fall asleep and still wake up watching the Lucha Underground episode of probably episode 8 or something. I'm like, God damn, it's still going on. But I end up kind of getting hooked on it a little bit. Then when I finally viewed Ultimate Lust, like, I'm gonna watch that. If anything, I'm gonna watch that show. And gosh, 1 and 2. I mean, well, in general, Lucha, the whole episode is round of applause. Like they outdid themselves on the episode. Vampiro, excellent. Like everything was pretty much on point. You couldn't ask for a better show. That's why I'm happy this year. This year was pretty good year. You got 2 great, I guess, finales, big events finales. Bound for Glory was epic, was good. And Lucha Underground, Ultimate Lucha was, you could ask for a better show. So if you haven't seen it, please guys go watch it. And I don't know what else to give it a plug. So Lucha Underground, send me that check.
All right. Well, guys, we started talking about women's wrestling. We got to kind of on rants and everything, which we do here at the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast. But I'm sure we're going to have another video probably talking more about just wrestling in general. Different companies, Lucha, Ring of Honor, everything like that. Just probably the, wrestling today, but we're gonna wrap up this video because we're going on probably like 7 hours now. I don't know how long the video's been, but do you guys wanna plug anything before we sign off? Anything at all?
I guess I'll hit everybody with the T-Shawn the One on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's TISHAUN the One. That's T-Shawn Jason on Facebook, and also have to give a big shout out and plug for Wrestle Talk Media. Join the Wrestle Talk Media group on Facebook. View Wrestle Talk Media's episodes on Good Nation Entertainment. That's Goody Nation ENT. Well, it's Goody Nation ENT. There's content on there of 5 million hits, and you have the Goody Girl Network. You have Wrestle Talk Media content on there as well. So several different sites, YouTube pages to view that on. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right, DJ, would you like to plug anything at all?
I mean, subscribe to this here Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast channel because, it's my baby, Casey and I's baby, I guess you could say. So subscribe to that. Don't subscribe to the True JSB. He didn't show up tonight, so don't subscribe to him. Forget him. No, but follow me on Twitter if you like. Follow the podcast, most certainly more than me. And we also have a Instagram account that I'm trying to get going. So follow that too. It's the same thing. So just
okay.
All right.
I enjoyed you guys for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I can kind of become a regular on this bad boy. Oh yeah.
We will certainly have you on more. We're trying to get some more people that are.
And most definitely, we would love to have you guys on Wrestle Talk Media. I mean, hey, we can do some crossovers now.
Yeah. Sounds.
ICWP. Okay.
Yeah. All right, you heard it here first. We're gonna do some crossovers, some interpromotional, if you will.
No invasion angles. No invasion angles on this one.
Yeah.
DJ gonna come on. Here go DJ gonna come out there. I'm coming here to take the company over to buy the company. No.
We taking it.
K's gonna come in and win the rest of the Talk Media Championship title and stuff, and we're gonna be a big feud. Nah, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, nah. That's too much promotion. We're too lazy. All right, guys. We will see you on the next episode, probably tomorrow when we do our NXT review or TNA review. Not NXT. That'll probably be the next day. But we will see you then. Peace.